Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu family of YouTube. I am a sports blogger. I am a jack of all trades. I am a guy who loves to cook, and I have a channel that has something for all of those here. I want to ask you, I'm here actually back home in my workshop, something I have not been able to do much for quite a while, so it's good. I'm working on cleaning up my workshop because I've got a lot of stuff that's left over from when we first started taking apart the red brick house and stuff. Some wood that's going to be reclaimed. And so I want to ask you, when you see this, if you were going through and saw a piece of wood like this, with all the nails and everything else in it, what would you think about it? What would you think? The dumpster, right? Well, this right here is actually part of the floor from the red brick house. We had to rebuild it, and unfortunately, these boards were rotted off on the end, and we couldn't reuse them. If you've seen the red brick house and you've seen our kitchen island, that's where a lot of these pieces have gone. So, give you an example. There was a shed that was on a property that we have that the shed was rotted out. It's an old shed, but we had to get rid of it. And so when you see the flooring that was in there, not real pretty, nails and things in there. But I'm actually going to reclaim and reuse that stuff. And let me give you an example of what that wood looks like. This one is actually more of the sappier side, which is lighter. Some of them will get more of a real deep red look. This is what's known as antique heart pine. You can't buy this fresh cut anymore. Those trees don't exist because they're slow growth pine trees. They take about 200 to 300 years to mature. And when you start thinking about this wood coming out of a house as a floor joist that's 200 years old, potentially you're looking at a 400 to 500 year old piece of wood. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this. We're going to go through, we're going to pull the nails out of it. I have a thickness sander, and that's where I took these pieces after I get the nails out of them. I start running them through, and this tongue and groove flooring, you get this. And we're going to actually use this for my sports desk at the red brick house to cover all of it. That way, we're saving another little piece. We're not putting it in the landfill, and we're reusing something, which is definitely kind of cool. But you can see all of the nails that are in here. I've got to go through. I've got a nail puller, which this tool is fantastic because it basically pinches on there and you can just roll and pull out all the nails. Makes life a lot easier than just using regular claw handles. So that's the first step we'll do is we'll get all the nails out of it, and then we'll start running it through the thickness sander, and we'll square up the edge to make it true. Now, I don't have a project or anything for this piece of wood at the moment. I didn't want to throw this stuff away, of course, because it is so valuable that you want to be able to reuse this, because the color and the hue that you get from this, you won't find in anything you find today. The more amazing thing about a piece of wood like this is how straight it has stayed. It hasn't warped. It hasn't twisted. And you can see the nails still holding this thing. Now see, these are some of the old cut nails that were made by hand, put into those. And I have all different kinds of pieces of wood that are in here. Some of the things, it's almost amazing because they reused everything. So we have a piece somewhere in here that was part of a sign that they used to kind of brace the house. And then I have pieces like this. This, believe it or not, is a piece of the roof sheathing that they put on. I have some of these that are 16, 17 inches wide, and you can see all the old cut nails that they put on when they did it. And so you're literally looking at something that was hand cut over 200 years ago. And that's why we're trying to save it and reuse it. These do not want to come out. The amazing thing on this stuff when we were rebuilding the house is when you're screwing drywall screws into these old studs, this wood is so hard that a lot of times the heads of the screws would literally break off. Now this gets to be a little bit hard for me right now because, there we go, step one. I've got bursitis here, so my elbow is really sore. But you can see, now, this was notched because it was a floor joist to sit on the mortise that was in there. But what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna go ahead and cut this off right here, because that's already notched and all that little bit we can afford to waste in here. But then we'll go through and look at that. Guys, look at that. Is that straight? Or look at that. That's straight as straight gets. So we got the nails out. Next step, to the sander. Wow. Okay, so people, this is literally the same board. Now you can see all the nail holes that are here on this side, but they don't go through all the way on the other side. You could, I have a magnetic, basically you go over with the magnetic thing and it'll let you know if you miss any nails. You could put this through a planer, but if you do miss a nail, you're talking about messing up planer knives. For me, I'd rather go through with my Supermax. And my Supermax, the only thing with this antique hard pine is it is very sappy, which is one of the reasons why it stays so stable. But I have actually gone through, and as you can see, I've sanded all of these pieces of tongue and groove flooring this morning. There's like 43 pieces here, about 3.5 feet long. So all that's gone through here along with this, and my belt, or excuse me, my sandpaper is still okay to do some more. It's a little sappy. It doesn't have a whole lot left to it, but literally, if you were to try and buy this board right here, if you can find them, a 4/4 Antique hard pine goes anywhere from about $15 to $20 a board foot. This is about 7 board feet, so to give you an idea, this is about $150 for this piece right here. And all this that we have here, literally we've got about $500 worth of lumber. So when I think about the $2,200 that I spent for that thickness sander and what it does for me, it's more than worthwhile, because it is literally producing incredible wood. Now, what am I going to do with this piece? I have no idea, but you can see over here, this is all the floor joists from the red brick house. You can see I have a bunch more over here that are ready to be sanded up and cleaned up and put up. But for now, I'm going to put it up in the rack. Maybe in the future, if I want to do a mantle piece for someplace, or maybe I want to make a nice antique heart pine bench or something like this, this is invaluable. And to have an appearance of it like this, people, there's no nails on this side whatsoever. And the color that is in here, the only way you get that is time. So you may be looking at a piece that started growing over 400 years ago. Well, there you have it. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm here in my messy, messy workshop, but it's home. And I appreciate you guys. Peace.